Not so long ago, we said that 4 points was going to be an excellent return from Manchester United and Arsenal. Well, that happened, but not the way round that we thought it would. In hindsight, we all know that we should have had 6 points from those 2 games. We know why, right? But isn't it just poetic that the person who became available for the game against the Emirates would go on to net the winner in what was Bournemouth's first ever win there? Indeed, the first time we've ever picked up so much as a point. What a weekend. A double over the Gunners this season, which is crazy to say. Tom, have you recovered
I'm
from
not
that,
sure, really. I'm not sure. I literally just said to you there, mate, the last time I was here, last time I was sat in this chair, I was so flat and just saying I'm so fed up because of obviously what happened in the Man U game and just gutted. And throughout the week, I was just thinking, well, I'm just going to watch the darts and that. Football's doing my head in. And now, what a sport. What a sport. Amazing, mate. Amazing. And yeah, obviously we'll get into it. But I think we all thought the only reason we'd potentially have a chance is because they rest everyone. They didn't rest anyone.
Well, we saw the teams. I think we had a slight bit of optimism, and then at 4:15 it was cut dead a little bit when we saw that lineup for us.
There's no one. I genuinely don't think that there's anyone in that pub that we were in that once they saw the teams wouldn't have taken a point.
No.
And I don't think there's any Arsenal fans that would have. So yeah, surprised, but it makes it a little bit sweeter now that people can't say, well, they rested everyone, that's why you got the job done. But yeah, we said it a little bit on the preview, kind of in jest, that I wonder if ever, now that he's suddenly back, kind of written for him to get the winner, and that's how it worked out. Yeah, crazy. Obviously that went, even that has to go to VAR and give us a few more nerves, but mate, it was up there, wasn't it? We've had a lot of good ones, but it was right up there.
A big shout out to everyone on the vlog who predicted correctly, not just the outcome, but the scoreline as well. Only 2 people didn't get it right, which is madness. And I posted the clip on social media. Go on.
I just want to, just to make a comment here, is that everyone that I think it was before team news.
It was, yeah.
So everyone said 2-1, then team news they all would have changed.
Yeah,
I said it after team news.
Well, mate, I mean, that was absolutely phenomenal. I think the way it's happened, getting 3 points against Arsenal and just the one against Man United, if we're going to get 4 points out of those fixtures, I think probably it's helped us because we're going to have a bit more motivation, belief, and a bit more momentum ahead of 2 very tough games and one game that we think should be like academic, but we all know that when we went up to their place, Leicester, it didn't quite happen that way. But it's probably better it happened this way round.
Yeah, I probably agree. And not because of the opponents we were playing, really. More the fact that Arsenal was the latter fixture. And it's taking you into Villa at home. It's taking you into the rest. And you said it to me off camera, mate, I think that's because of the fact they played their strong team as well, I think surely the players now are going, we just went to Arsenal and who have Arsenal done a double on this season? Real Madrid, right? We've just done a double on them. So, if you can't believe you can go and win it, I reckon 6 points would do it. You can't win a couple of home games. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I know Villa are a very, very good side, of course, when they turn up, not when we need them to in the FA Cup semi-final, but they are a good side, but they're definitely a lot better at home. So obviously we'll talk about that in the preview, their form away from home. But yeah, it's got to give the lads belief, mate, and as we'll come on to a few players that maybe need a bit of belief, should get it off the back of that, because there were some really good performances.
I don't think I've had time to appreciate it fully just yet, actually, because whilst in the car on the way back, I was sort of part editing the vlog, but I was taking in some content, and then I came back home. I was editing the vlog till the early hours, and then on the Sunday I was straight out with Lucy, and she was doing a 5k somewhere, of course, talking about running yet again, and then just trying to chill out as much as I can. But I haven't seen much of it, and
you must have watched fan cams back a few times, please.
I have seen the fan cams, but I think part of me can't maybe appreciate it just yet. I think I'll appreciate it more at the end of the season, but it's because I'm already thinking about the next game and how important it is. But Tom, we've got to say it, and sometimes on some shows we haven't said it to avoid ourselves the potential heartache later down the line. But ultimately, we are in a fight for 8th place, and I mean, whisper it, there are not 3 teams, there are actually 4 now as well.
Yeah, there are. Brentford have kind of come out of nowhere, haven't they? Fair play to them. They've made it annoying because they've got some really good results. And yeah, it's an interesting one, because I appreciate what people are saying, that it is technically in our own hands. If we win our football matches, we finish 8th. What I will say is, but Palace got to win one game. If they win the FA Cup, that could change everything. Obviously, there's loads of different things that can happen. We don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea in the Conference League and Europa League and all that stuff. So, but in terms of the league and in terms of 8th, it's in our hands. And I honestly, with the little dip in form we had in the fixtures, I didn't think that'd be the case. So yeah, unfortunately, Newcastle managed to just nick that point at the end. That was big for us, I think. But yeah, Brentford have made it even more interesting. I mean, I was saying a while ago, I'm not going to change my mind now, as I did say I felt, for a long time actually, that Fulham might be the hardest ones. I felt like they had something about them. They're bottom half now.
Yeah, which is mad.
Crazy.
That's how quick it can change.
That's how quick it can change, mate. So, yeah, we just got to try and keep taking along. But as we said, it's going to continue being a roller coaster of twists and turns, because every time you predict something, it doesn't happen. So no one predicted us to go to Arsenal win, but there's been a few recently where I thought there's no way, like, kind of, Brentford are going to win that, or there's no way Palace are going to knock Villa out of the cup. Like, so there's no point of really predicting, even though we've done that prediction show that you can watch. There's no point.
we are a streaky team, though. That's what I just said.
Good point, yeah.
Just off air. So when we've won, we've won a few in a row, and when we weren't doing so well, we weren't winning games for quite a long period. And just getting that under our belt, and we're on a mini unbeaten run now. Yeah, it's actually, I don't know, I'm actually feeling quite optimistic about it, but I'm annoyed at myself for feeling optimistic, because I know that's going to lead to disappointment should we not get there. But VAR was the star of the show yet again in this one. We'll talk about it later on, I'm sure. First thoughts, was it handball?
You can't tell, so for me, you can't give it, can you? You can't just make assume that it might have. You can't see. I still can't see it. It may have hit his elbow. It may have hit his side. I'm not sure. But
I did see a tweet from Tom Canton, who does the Gooner talk, and we've done some bits with him before, and he was adamant, and he got a lot of retweets that, VAR is an absolute farce, because it was a clear handball, but I'm not so sure, because
we'll have the penalty.
There's one bit of footage, and in this day and age, VAR, man, I mean, how are they using cameras that grainy that they can't, like, pick out moments a lot more clearer than what they should be doing? But I think look, we'll tackle it.
You'll never know, and also you've got to point out that Clivert was off the pitch at the time as well, so he wouldn't have taken it. But if they're saying that's handball, absolutely fine. It's 100% a penalty. Yeah. If it's handball, it's a penalty.
He wasn't even looking the right way.
And I would also say, if it does hit his hand, but he's only hit his hand because he's been pulled to the floor by your player. So surely that should cancel it out anyway. But I still can't see if it's hit his hand or not. It would have been I think it was my dad said to me, actually, he said, because we always talk about different things about how, refs and officials are human, and they, make sometimes subconscious decisions. You go, if that decision wasn't so outrageous the week before against Man United, so if Evan Nilsson hadn't have got sent off, would they have disallowed that goal? Was that in there? We can't do this at Bournemouth again, because we're not. I don't know. But listen, that you couldn't have ruled that out. When you're behind the goal like we are, and in the stadium, I just didn't know what was going on. I kind of thought, as he fell to the ground, I thought it did hit his hand. And then it goes checking for offside. What's going on? I just thought they'll find a way to disallow this. So lovely to be able to celebrate again, mate.
I did use a headline on a previous video, but in hindsight, I should have done North London forever. I did that for another club, didn't I? Earlier, only a few games ago as well. But
you did.
Never mind, Evan Nilsson came good, and he could end up being our top scorer this season, because he is chasing Clivert down. But look, at this point, I think it's probably poignant to have a quick cursory glance at the league table, which shows, look, by the way, Forest dropping like a stone. Villa, same amount as points of them. But look, we're on 53 points. And there are 4 teams in and around us. So there you are, Brentford, Brighton and Fulham. And that podcast listeners and people who watch Back of the Net avidly will know that we spoke about officials, and we said if the referee would have a good game and Bournemouth win, you would be getting an Australia top with the referee's name. It was Jared Gillett, of course. So we'll have to just tackle that quickly. Did you have a good game?
I was very careful in my wording.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Caveat. Section 29, clause B.
I said if the referee has a good game, I think he was okay. I think people are very quick to forget when you're in the limbs and you win the game. There was no big calls. That first half, and I've checked it out as well. There's a few people that were obviously watching at home or whatever, not in the game, that tweet as the game's going. Yeah. And that first kind of half hour, all of the Bournemouth are tweeting. They're getting every decision, shock, everything. There was one, I remember you were raging as well. I think it was Araujo, literally just stood there, and their player fell over right in front of us, and he gave a show away. So the 5th pitch was going like, listen, he wasn't awful. I'm only kind of, tongue in cheek, but was he good? Not for me. What I'll do is I'll make a compromise. I'll get an Australia shirt, and if we have him again, And if we have them again, there's nothing big, horrible that happens and we win the game, then I will get it on the back. But I'll get the Australia shirt first. That's absolutely fine.
All right. Sounds good. But and plus, you wouldn't want to be one of those people that would go to a game wearing an Australia shirt with a Gillet on the back.
Did I ever say I was going to wear it? Christ, that's not, the Franks know what they're getting for Christmas. That's all, mate.
Exactly. But look, we were in the faltering fullback. Great pre-match boozer. That answers one of the questions in the comments, which says, "Which pub do you go to, lads?" I think I say the pub name about 3 times in the vlog, so you're not concentrating.
So many messages of people, what's the away pub? The one we go to every time at Arsenal, isn't it?
Nick, because there's not really a dedicated pub. But
I like it though.
Yeah, no, I like it as well. Although the bit outdoors, like they sectioned off some of the top parts, there's like a labyrinth in the garden where you can go upstairs.
Waiting list.
Yeah, waiting list
to get a part of the beer garden.
Vitamin D down you. So yeah, not too good. But I'll tell you what, nice pre-match vibe. Steve was driving, so I managed to have a couple of Guinnesses. It was quite nice. Lovely. Very, very nice. And yeah, loads of people correctly predicting the score. And then team lineups come out. And we'll actually start with us because surprise or two, maybe one major surprise.
Yeah, the major surprise was Iraola starting for sure.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Why do you think that was?
That's really difficult to say. I think in hindsight, you kind of go, they're quick. Is he looking at the pace? Is he thinking, I need Julian to play minutes? He hasn't played much football. He obviously likes Julian. He's played him a fair amount.
Yeah, I'll just chuck him in against Arsenal.
No, but is he more thinking, is it actually beneficial to keep bringing him on late in the game when it's really tense? Yeah. Shall I start him, let him ease into it, have confidence in him, show a bit of belief in him.
Started him at Liverpool as well.
Yeah, and know that we've got not only Lewis Cook that can play there, we've got Adam Smith and we've got James Hill. Yeah. So we've got a lot of options there. I think that was what the surprise was. We've got quite a lot of options at right back, and Araujo's started. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, mate. And probably the other one was, definitely the other one. Not for anyone starting really in Tav, but more the fact that it was Semenyo that was left out. There's been periods of season where we thought maybe he could do with a break, and he never has. And then when he's hit a bit of form, and then he's dropped them again, I thought, that's a bit mad. But as always, Andoni knows best.
You can see why. I mean, I must admit, going on history, watching teams that are in this predicament that have got a big European game to come in the week, I've rarely seen it where they, Man United aside maybe, they start weak and then end strong. They usually start strong, try to get the result in the bag. So either way, I think Andoni was banking on the fact that Arteta was doing that. And look, even if players had to play more minutes than they would have ideally wanted, or they'd have ended strong, at least with Semenyo on, you're ending with, probably your most potent 4 up front, maybe.
He used to, I think we were quick to forget as well that obviously we had such a long period with no subs bench, so to speak, like academy on the bench, so we didn't really have any choice. But when he had kind of a lot more to pick from, which, let's be real, he has now. He's got a good bench, no academy lads on there. Do you remember, I always remember, sticks out in my head is Chelsea away. He had Clive on the bench, and everyone was like, why is Clive on the bench? And he actually said, I don't pick necessarily the strongest 11. I need to have options on the bench. Yeah. And I wonder now if he can be a little bit more like that, because he goes, right, I need my finishers on 60. And now he's got the option to. Yeah. Because apart from, obviously, we know Christian Uno out, and apart from maybe a Cine return, that's kind of the squad now for the remainder of the season. So he can kind of do that. And yeah, and obviously it worked a dream.
But as for the Arsenal lineup, we'll take it. We'll put it back on screen for people watching on YouTube. But a few names in there that we didn't expect. Declan Rice is one of them.
Yeah, he should have gone full strength Arsenal. You would have had a chance. I think we obviously knew Raya would be in goal because their backup keeper's our player, Neto, so he can play. I went for Saliba and Kivior anyway because I think Gabriel and Calafiori injured, so I thought they can't rotate defensively. Knew Partey would play because he was suspended in the week anyway. Could not believe he went Royce and Ødegaard. I think I actually said in the preview he might do one. Saka was an absolute shock because he's been injured. I mean, that was such a gamble. And then maybe one of Trossard and Martinelli. No, he played them both. And even Lewis Skelly at left back. So you probably, I said to you, I'd argue
our bench is more stronger.
Well, yeah, probably. But I'd also argue that that's a stronger team than they had against PSG because Partey's back. Yeah. And Ben White and Timber, I don't think there's loads in it. Timber's obviously got some sort of knock because he wasn't even on the bench. But yeah, such a strong side, mate. Really was. I guess you can look at it as they don't have as many options on the bench, but they obviously were planning to get the job done. Yeah. First 60 minutes, then take them all off. We were clearly hoping we'll stay in the game on 60 minutes and then we'll be stronger. And obviously the latter happened.
Looking in hindsight, I think I had the same feeling walking to a stadium as I did at Newcastle away, like where you're not really expecting anything.
No.
I mean, at the time, Newcastle were on that incredible run of form.
Both weirdly, stupid for to say, but as I was walking to the Arsenal game and as I was walking to the Newcastle game that you mentioned, if you had said to me, 80 minutes, you're 1-0 down, would you take it? I'd have taken it.
Yeah.
Because we're in it. So the fact that we've won both of them, mate, you're right. It seems to be the game. I'd probably say the FA Cup game aside against City. But actually, I think there was a bit of belief.
Yeah.
But the games where we've gone no chance today,
Yeah.
we've won them all.
Yeah.
We've won them all. I mean, the first time we beat City, they weren't even on that dip yet.
No, they weren't.
I mean, the run Newcastle were like 11 unbeaten. We had no play. Yeah, it does feel like that, mate. So we're definitely not going to win another game.
So the game started, and I would say it was a tentative start from us. We started all right, but it was Arsenal that were having most, if not all, of the chances. I mean, there are a few that we'll pick up on for Bournemouth. But I remember Declan Rice on the left dragging a shot past the post.
Arta scores that, by the way. Iraola scores that.
Do you think they played together as youngsters? Because obviously there's the Ireland connection.
I think there might be a chance.
Might have.
Declan might be a little bit too young, but then I'm also thinking that Declan was probably very good as a youngster, was probably playing a lot higher. Yeah. So I do wonder if there might have been. Even though I think people were saying, we probably won't know. I mean, he's a football fan. Ariola's not a dud. Ariola's was a good footballer.
And he did, when we were singing it for a while, he did a little smile. Yeah. So he obviously knows who he is.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But they also had a chance where Martinelli had a shot, which was very similar. That was after Kirkers did a really strong back pass to Kepa. Kepa managed to put it back to him. It was good from Kepa, very calm, but then Kirkers sort of lost out, and then Saka was just strong, held him off, cut it back to Martinelli, left foot shot, dragged wide. In between those moments, Evan Nilsson, Kirkers was bang on it again with a hell of a cross. I watched it back and I think, how did he head that over the bar? Was it a case of him mistiming his jump, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was weird because obviously we're up the other end.
It wasn't high.
No, we're up the other end. I remember at the time thinking, well, that's a really hard header. I don't think that's a massive chance. It looked too high for him. And then a lot of people that watched it were going, what a chance. And I thought, maybe. And I've looked at it back because he was down on the floor for a while.
Yeah.
I think he misjudged it. It hits him in the nose.
Really?
Because he's on the floor holding his face.
Oh, my God. I thought it was embarrassment.
Yeah, but he was on the floor because we thought, has he landed badly, didn't we?
Yeah.
But he was on the floor really holding his face. And I don't think, I'll have to look at it again, I don't think it connects with his head. I think it hits him in the face. But what I want to say about that is, yes, he's missed the chance, unfortunately. If you watch that back, when Kirkers gets the ball down the left, that's what a striker, he looks like he's going to, and he just runs in, and he just beats the centre arm.
Kluivert does that a lot.
Unbelievable little, just a little bit of movement in the box, so slight and, cute. But, it wants to be, I don't know, maybe it was a mistiming the jump.
We were worried when he was down. Indeed, we were wondering, whether he's going to get back up, and Steve Hensman came up with a really interesting way of resuscitating it. I'm not going to say it on here, but on the vlog, he thought I was going to cut it out. I didn't left it in.
Yeah, when you said it, I thought, that's getting cut. Sounds annoying. Okay. We won the game. You went, I ain't cutting anything.
I don't care.
Oh, God.
But maybe that would have worked.
Maybe.
Who knows? Also, there was another great chance. This is where Kepa was called into action, where Martinelli was on the left-hand side, beat Araujo for pace, just a little jink, found a bit of room, and then crossed towards Trossard, who was running in, beat his marker, and then Kirkers maybe flat-footed a little bit, who knows, but great header, but Kepa... Good save. I think it's on the line, almost.
Yeah, I think it's more... don't get me wrong, I expect Kepa to hopefully get down and get to that, but it was the fact that he also managed to stop it going back out.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a top save, that was. And yeah, they had a few moments like that, didn't they, down wide areas, but... It's a weird one. I just touched on it a little bit because a few people were saying, we need to get Araujo off here. He's struggling against Martinelli. I also thought, I think I was talking to Neil at the services actually, and people were saying the point, well, Martinelli's beating him every time.
Yeah.
Well, how many games a season? I would say nearly 100% of games is Semenyo beating his man. Yeah. Do we say that fullback's had a bad game?
No, that's true.
The fullback, I think what I would say is just to give him a bit of credit, Araujo, is...
just because he's been on the pod.
Absolutely, he's my mate, yeah. But no, when he did get beat, he got beat and they crossed it. Well, you've almost weirdly done a little bit of your job there. You're not letting him come inside. You're not letting him come inside and have a shot. And every time they crossed it, barring that one that you just mentioned, we were heading it out.
Yeah, you would rather
than just keep crossing
be on his left and get the cross in, rather than manufacture a shot on his right.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying...
Showed him the goal line, which is what they always say.
Martinelli's a bloody good player, and he did run at him a few times, but I didn't think he was that bad, Araujo, at all. But yeah, he had a few moments, but Martinelli's a bloody good player as well.
It wasn't the the usual intensity from Arsenal, though. I thought they had their moments, and they sort of, it was almost like they were conserving their energy, like they got a big game coming up in the week. Maybe they weren't all guns blazing.
No,
excuse the pun.
Yeah, no, maybe not. I think we deserve a bit of credit. I think it felt like quite end to end. They're the better chances. But it certainly felt like, and I think Arsenal fans would have agreed that, we need to get the goal here. But because Bournemouth have got a bit of, we just talked about the ever chance, a bit dangerous on the break. But it was Declan Rice, mate. You just kept thinking he's going to get in at some point and hurt us.
You constantly said on the full-time fan cams about how crucial he was to them. Of course, he got pulled off in the second half. Not in that way, Steve Hensman. But he was, like you say, instrumental on about 33 minutes or so, where Odegaard picked up the ball and then he makes this run, and there was a lot of wrath towards Zabani from people in and around me about him being a bit flat-footed with this. But then we've just got the still on screen at the moment. I mean, he's facing the right way, Zabani, right? Because he needs to be looking at Declan Rice, but what he does, he sort of pirouettes, and that's going to slow you down, obviously. From a standing start, Rice is already making the run. Should have Araujo done more to support him, perhaps, in that instance? I don't know.
Perhaps, again, they're all in a difficult position because Araujo's also got someone on the shoulder.
Exactly, so maybe that's Tav that needs to come back, I don't know.
Maybe, and as Dino stepped out a little bit too much, there's loads of different things, but they execute it really well. I think sometimes you've got to say, Odegaard in that position still got to get the pass bang on, and Declan Rice has got to make the perfect run, and they've done it. I
thought he was going to shoot first time, but he didn't. And in hindsight, that was the right choice to make. He found an angle.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the only thing I will say is it didn't work. But Zaba clearly thought he was going to get around him because he went straight to the line. I thought he was going to get his head on it. Yeah. What I was relieved about, because I've done it before playing, you just stick your hand out. We'd have lost him for 3 games.
Impulsive.
But I think you've also got to say that's some really well worked from Arsenal, and Declan Rice doing that all game. And I forget, obviously, being an England fan, is Declan Rice is our defensive midfield player, and that's what he is. Stuff that. I hope Tuchel finds a defensive midfield player and just plays him in this role, because he was a joke, honestly. And I always say to people that since being in the Premier League, which is obviously a fair amount of seasons now in total, I always try and think of who's like the best one I've seen live against us. And I remember not that long ago for West Ham, they beat us 4-0 at home, and they weren't very good at the time. He was unplayable. Yeah. And I thought maybe he just stood out in that West Ham team. He was a joke in that game. And literally, when he went off the pitch, it was like we had an extra player. He was so good. And I think I said it a few times. I've said it to my Arsenal mates that I don't know whether it's a positive or a negative, because on one hand you go, God, that was a good buy. 100 million, that was bang on. They'd sing Declan Rice, you bought him half price. But also, that's how reliable you are on him, how reliant you are on him. So, difficult one. But he was amazing. If anyone deserved a goal, it was him.
His 100th appearance for Arsenal capped off then with a goal. Arsenal 1-0 up. Cue Bournemouth fans trying to respond and goad Arsenal by singing "Second again, ole ole," which worked quite well. And I think even at one point, when we equalised, you got us chant nearly going, "We might come third." No, you might come third. You might come third.
I think they'd take second or third at the moment. We'll come fourth.
It could.
Because they're like, we went, you might come fourth. And they went, or maybe fourth. Who knows?
We did respond straight after that, though. Kluivert had a running shot deflected over the bar. It
should have passed.
Yes.
Should have passed. I think there was two. You're probably going to say it straight after, actually.
Yeah, Evan Nilsson.
And both of them should have passed to the other.
Yeah.
So Kluivert, as you say, he ran through.
That was the high press from us for that second moment, wasn't it? Where Raya was trying to feed Odegaard, but the pass was wrong. Yes. And then I think Dango was in the right place, right time. Fed Ever. And then he tried to do what Dom Solanke did against, Brighton?
Yes, right, yeah.
But it didn't work over the bar, but Kluivert was crying out for it, wasn't he?
Yeah, it almost felt like, when you play at school or something, and Ever was like, I ain't passed you should have passed to me earlier.
Yeah.
I think the Kluivert one, what I will say is, he probably, in hindsight, obviously, he should have passed to Ever, but how many times has he done that, ran through, everyone's making the runs, and he just hits it and it goes in?
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of was happy for him taking it on. The Ever one, you have to execute that really bloody well, but I could see what he was trying, to be fair. But got the press right, and I think we said that in the preview, that probably our best way in, I felt, obviously in hindsight, is set pieces, was that if we get our press right, Ryan will get one wrong.
Yeah.
And he did, but we didn't quite take it, mate. But no, I think things like that, you forget that going into half time, Andoni will quickly, from going, we held them and then they scored a goal, to look what you've just done the last few minutes.
Yeah,
we had two big chances.
Focus on the positives.
Yeah, you've proven out there how much you can hurt them. If we got our finishing right, we could be ahead of it.
You asked a lot of people the same question in terms of what do you honestly feel at half time, and a lot of them after that performance, couldn't really see us get. We didn't overly do anything wrong, but it was just Arsenal were too dominant.
Too dominant, and I felt the more we'd come out, they're probably going to catch us, get a second, and it'll be
kill it off.
Yeah, kill it off kind of thing. That's what I thought, and I also thought that because of some of the players they've got, obviously Declan Rice, Odegaard, Saliba, I just thought they'd keep the ball. Do you remember City in the FA Cup game, where first half we were exposing, as soon as they got the lead, we were just kicking the ball off them. I kind of was worried it was going to get like that, and we deserve massive credit for not allowing it to be like that. But yeah, Arsenal, it was they didn't come out right in the second half either, which was weird because the second half started with them nearly scoring. Yeah, so I'm surprised they didn't kick on from that. But
Saka had that chance, didn't he? He turned Adams inside out on the left side of the pitch, so he had a right-footed shot which just whistled wide of the post. Was worried about that.
I thought about it afterwards, actually, just a quick one, because that was obviously Saka on the left, so he was obviously playing on the right. So in that moment, his only real thing I remember him doing was when it was that. So I think, and I was just going, God, Saka was poor. Should we give some more credit to Milos Kerkez, by the way? Because he pretty much all game, I thought Saka was pretty average, didn't you?
Yeah, you're right, actually.
His best chance was when he was on the other side. But I didn't, when they took him off, I wasn't like, thank God they've got Saka off, because he wasn't doing anything.
So we then made changes on about 65 minutes, and I think it was actually Jamie on Fancams who called this and said he would like to see Iraola come off and then put Cook right back and then bring Alex Scott on. That's what he said. I'll tell you what, he's not bad. He's not a bad person to chat to.
He's done that a few times. Didn't he do it at Newcastle as well?
Yeah, he did.
But I also thought that was, I can't remember if I said it to you actually, but I felt, because everyone would say the obvious one would be Semenya for Tav. I thought it'd be Kluivert.
No, I said that to Steve as well, Kluivert.
I didn't think Kluivert was having I don't think since his injury, since his return, he's been quite sharp.
No, he hasn't.
And I've actually, we'll see again, but I think when Tav goes into the 10, he looks better in the 10 than he does on the wing at the moment.
Did you see Kluivert's piece with Kelly Summers, by the way, on BBC Sport? It was beautiful.
Beautiful indeed. Yes, it was.
He
does. He's a beautiful man.
I'll tell you what, so Alex Scott came on and it wasn't long before we equalised, and it came from a sort of Bournemouth clearance. Tav then put Semenya through on a run, and I thought he was going to do what he did against Luton Town at home, absolutely terrorising, but it's just last touch. And so Arsenal clear it for what was nearly a corner, but it wasn't quite. It was a throw-in. Alas, 5 yards to the left, Antoine takes the throw. Is that allowed?
Yeah, fine.
I mean,
then no one ever takes it. I think you are allowed to go a little bit back. Like if you're going further, I don't really know. But no, that happened. I don't think I've ever seen a throw-in taken and the spot goes out.
It's like when we, you and Jeff on our lads' day in Brighton, lads doing a sauna, having a cup of coffee, and then playing crazy golf.
Yeah, it was nice.
It's almost like when the ball's like right up against the kind of those slabs. Like, how do you hit it? So we always put it like a club's width away.
But yeah, no, and obviously we all know about Antoine's amazing long throw, so we were excited for
Dave Challoner-esque, bloody Rory Delap, like eat your heart out. I mean, that was a hell of a throw. And so, can I ask, is that classed as a set piece or not? Is that set piece?
Yeah, set piece. Yeah, throw in the set piece. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's technically a set piece.
But but how far does that set piece go? Is it like a couple of touches and then it could be classified? Yeah, that was.
I think throwing is literally if that's the assist. Okay, I think that's how they classify. I'm not sure, but weird. Antoine getting an assist with his hands. That's rare. Normally they get chalked off for us. But
hell of a throw though. And
where's that come from? I remember James Hill's had a few long throws. Yeah. Cookie used to a little bit. Steve Cook.
They were never that far though. Cookies.
No, I don't think we've ever really had a proper long throw. Why has he never done that before, Semenya? He's never done that.
It's like a superpower, isn't it?
Oh, it was brilliant though. And who scored for us?
Dino again.
What a header, by the way.
Great. It reminded me of his header at Old Trafford where Tav had a free kick and it was almost identical. He rises above it. I don't think one Arsenal player jumped actually.
No, was it? I can't remember who was behind him. I think like
Rice was in there.
Yeah, but he kind of got in between them, didn't he?
Yeah, and he just jumped and he just glanced it. And there it was in the back of the net, and cue the chill guy celebrations, and then he did this thing like that. Like I thought it was like mauled by the Tigers or something, but it wasn't. But it was
because Hull stayed up.
In fact, I think the Echo did do a headline on it, which we'll put on screen. You know what? I saw that and I was like, that's not a Daily Echo headline. That is not a Daily Echo headline. Apparently it is.
Yeah, babe.
But he did these kind of celebrations. You know my thoughts on celebrations and handshakes and all that thing. But fair play to him and fair play to Dean Howson. Thought it was a good header. Right, didn't have a chance with that. And I swear he tapped the badge as well.
Well,
does that mean anything?
Oh, absolutely not.
Does it?
Good at. But yeah, it's an unbelievable header because also Raya, who I think is one of the best keepers in the league, is full stretch. He's full stretch. That has to go in that corner. It's perfect header. And I'll tell you what, headers down that end. Do you remember Celeste's header as well? Yes. You prefer that celebration, knee slide.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah,
but
for 2-0.
We've set pieces against the Arsenal. Yeah. Apparently they got a set piece coach. It's quite good.
Yeah, well, you know what? All the focus is... Exactly, Sean Cooper deserves credit for that, and also for later on as well. And look, Alex Scott, when he came on, I think for the last couple of games we've seen these little glimpses that we maybe haven't seen in other parts this season. And I think he really affected the game really well. We almost played in that 8 position as well, so Tyler Adams being the anchor. And I just thought him picking up the ball, driving with it, and that's what he did actually to actually lead to our goal that turned out to be the eventual winner, because he drove forward with the ball. There was a little bit of luck with the way it came back to him, but then there was a really good bit of moment after that because we lost it and then we regained the possession because Tyler Adams, that press, it was Scott, Dango and Tyler that were constantly pressing, and then the ball came to Tav that fed Dango, who stayed out wide after his pressing, and then the cross fed Tav on the edge of the box, and he sort of chests it down, doesn't he? Takes a shot, and I was expecting the net to ripple.
Actually collected him quite well.
He did. He really did. But yeah, it was a cracking block, and then over the bar. So that led to a corner, which Alex Scott took. Now, when you look at this corner, when you see all the different players, credit not to Tav for the flick, not to Ever, but there's a lot of players that are just holding their markers really well there.
Little blocks.
David Brooks was doing it, Tyler Adams was doing it, Zabani was doing a bit as well. And that prevented 3 Arsenal players from even moving.
Absolutely. Did you see on Match of the Day, I think it was Joe Hart actually, was doing a little bit on it.
Oh, right, okay.
And showing that they had over double, I think, the amount of players in the box.
Oh, wow.
But we managed to rule so many of them out of it.
Exactly.
Really, really clever.
And the way that Tav ran forward, I mean, it was always, I don't know if it's a thing. I don't want to say it too loudly. No one's going to be watching this important. He does a little bounce, a slow bounce on the floor, like Alex Scott, of the ball, and then he takes this corner, and then Tav knows to make that run.
Well, I do wonder if, because it was the era that Sean Cooper was playing, I always remember, I think it was Brian Stock who used to do it quite a lot, that me and my mate Ash used to try and work out by watching every week what win means what. But they used to do, so one was a bounce, they'd bounce twice, sometimes they'd rub it on their t-shirt, sometimes they'd put the ball behind their head. There was like little kind of codes to if they go near post, far post, all that stuff. And the cut back, the one that Eddie used to hit, and jump over the ball and stuff. So you wonder if he's kind of implemented that a little bit, little bounces and stuff like that. But,
I would love it one week if we just, tried to throw in a curveball and like one of the players who was about to take on and goes,
like a little wink or a dab or something. But yeah,
spin a Rudy.
But regardless, we've scored a few. Obviously, Arsenal saw in the home game that we can do something from a corner. So I just thought that actually we scored 4 goals against Arsenal, all set pieces.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, so we can do that. But regardless, you can do all the kind of planning you want from a set piece. You've got to get it. Alex Scott's got to put a good ball in. As simple as that, and he does. To be fair to him, it is a decent ball. Tav gets a flick on.
But do you think that's the plan for Tav to flick on, or whether that's a header on goal? Because it was almost on goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Yeah, you have to look at it back. But let's just say he meant to flick it on.
Well, Evan Nilsson was at the far post, and that's where the ball went to. But Evan Nilsson was grappling with Odegaard, and we have spoke about it. Already. I have seen stills of this, and I still can't work it out. And they were trying to work it out. First offside, and then the screen flicked and said handball. But you, like we said, you did call it out on the. So did you probably celebrate then?
Oh God, yeah, I'm injured.
But then you brought yourself. Oh my God, you've actually got a mark on your leg.
I stood on the chair and fell off.
Did you? But you did sort of bring yourself down to earth quite quickly. When I was turning around, because I didn't capture you with the celebrations because I didn't know where my own hand was. The camera turned like 90 degrees at one point. And then I'm trying to see where you are. And then the first thing I see when I see you is you're like going, I'm like, sorry, what? What? I thought you meant I'm going to do what Ben Phillips has done and I'm getting a tattoo.
Could I? I don't know. I just thought they both fall to the floor. I think it's just in my head. I'm thinking it's bound to something's going to be off it. I mean, I can never see it clear enough. But yeah, I watched it back loads of times. It's not clear and obvious, which is apparently what they look for. That's definitely not inclusive. You can't say that's conclusive.
So can I ask a question, right? So if if a player has got his arm in a natural position against their body, if it leads to a goal and it comes off there, that is disallowed.
Yeah,
right?
disallowed.
Okay. But it's if it doesn't lead to a goal. But yeah, okay.
But I genuinely think, say it was clear and say that does hit him on the hand and it's obvious, then I do think it would have gone checking penalty. And I think we get a penalty.
He's not even looking at the ball, is he?
I think Erdegaard, I mean, it's literally open goal. He could have gone. I don't know. But there's loads of different things. But if we don't get the goal, we get a penalty, to be fair. But yeah, I don't see how you can disallow that anyway, mate. But nice to be able to celebrate a couple of times, see the little mini guns from Ever. And yeah, I know a lot of Arsenal fans were saying that it was typical for them that Ever, they thought wouldn't play, did play and got the winner.
One of the things that
Jebbo scores that anyway.
He probably does. One of the things I would argue to any Arsenal fan that would say, look, check the cameras VAR, not one of your players, similar to Dango's goal against Newcastle, not one player from the opposition is screaming or even putting his hand up.
No, not at all.
And usually you get that for like most goals that have got a little bit of controversy. There's not one player that thought, nah, it's dodge. Not even Odegaard himself, that he's right next to it. There was another central defender, I can't remember who was looking right at it, not even...
And none of our players halted their celebrations as well.
No, they didn't.
It's just us, like, with muscle memory of going, oh, what's happened? Something's happened.
They all celebrated, though. Every single player celebrated like it was a set piece that has gone to a T. And that's happened a few times this season where the whole team comes together and you know that everyone's played their part. But you know what? Considering Gillett was ref and Michael Salisbury was on the VAR, I think most of us were fearing the worst. But alas, it stood 2-1 absolute scenes. There was a fair bit of time left though, 13 minutes plus whatever amount of injury time.
How many minutes added time did we get in the end? Was it 6?
6, yeah.
I was in bits, mate. I couldn't cope with it.
But
they didn't do anything.
They didn't. We'll just take a look at the attacking timeline, by the way. Right. So here we go. This on screen on YouTube, you can see where we're at with that. You probably see that the Arsenal bars are a little bit higher, but in the second half, they had a sort of brief period where they threatened, but it was mostly us, I've got to say. It looks like they have a flurry at the end. That's just them having the ball in our half quite a fair bit and firing balls into the box. Really, apart from that, they didn't do much. And I was really impressed, mate. I was really impressed with just the calmness, because us in the stands, we were all losing our shit quite a bit and we were so nervous. But the players were just so cool, calm and composed on the ball, I thought.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Because there was times where it always scares me, but we were Oleing, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
And you think we're hanging on at the Emirates here, but we were just knocking it around, really calm, really, really good. It was really enjoyable. And annoyingly, they said it on Match Day, because I thought at the time, now it looks like I'm just copying them. But they highlighted the fact that the amount of times, and this is first half as well, Arsenal should have shot and played an extra pass, by the way, was ridiculous. I mean, Erdegaard always seems to do it.
Yeah.
But there was, I think, Ranieri come on, he cut in.
He to shoot, does he?
No, he cut in. I thought, here we go. Oh, they're trying to go again. And they've done that so many times, which obviously helped us. But
he reminds me of Dave, who we play football with on Sunday.
Yes.
Always gets in these keen positions.
Yeah.
He never shoots.
Never shoots, yeah.
So generous is our Dave.
Yeah, no, it was strange. But yeah, and the mad thing was, after the Ever goal, then they take off Saka and Martinelli. Because they would have had to.
Well, talk me through the substitutions, because someone comes on, mate, that gave a lot of us PTSD, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So obviously, in between the two of our goals, sandwiched in there was Rice off for Marino, and Brooks came on for Dango. And Dango did go down. I hope he's all right. We haven't heard anything yet, because actually I thought he grew into the game really well. Then Ever scores. They go treble substitution. Yeah, Martinelli, Saka, and White off. They brought on Zinchenko, Ranieri, and Raheem Sterling. When I saw Raheem Sterling come on, I was like, have I got any savings I can just put on Sterling? And if Arsenal fans don't know, or haven't watched the other videos, I think he is still the player that scored the most goals against Bournemouth. He definitely scored a hat-trick for City against us. I think he might have scored a brace or a hat-trick for Liverpool against us. He scored for Chelsea against us. The only team he hasn't is Arsenal, so I was a bit worried about that. But then all the fear went away when Jefferson come on 87. Yeah,
that's right. But we saw the game out really, really well. And there was some moments
100%
where...
it was ground jewels, Jefferson won.
What? Did he?
Yeah.
How many did you have?
1.
Okay. Like Semenyo having the ball on the left-hand side, and he didn't necessarily hold it in the corner. He sort of ran towards us.
Yeah.
And then he knew that he had players on his back, so he just played it back. And that's when the Ole starts, and that's when I felt a little bit uncomfortable. Fourth official... How many was it going to be? There was a VAR check, a couple of injuries, not many major. 6.
Yeah, I thought you might get, because I was thinking I'd probably take 5. So I think it was fair. I think that was fair. That wasn't one where I thought, how was it 6? I thought actually it probably is 5 or 6, to be fair.
just while we're taking a look at the average positions, whilst people on YouTube can see, we'll just mention the fact that you had a word in my ear just saying, Sam, like, would you do this if you were Iraola? About maybe bringing on Senesi. Do you think he sort of thought about the last game and thought, yes, maybe not?
I think it's a prime example of a coach and a team maybe looking back that there's context because we went down to 10 men against Man United.
Yeah, true.
But they scored in stoppage time. Regardless of the fact they had an extra player, why didn't we defend that bit well? And really, you'd have gone Senesi. It wasn't Senesi's fault or anything, but bringing on an extra centre back, you think, well, that'll mean Man, you probably can't score from a cross because we've got extra bodies. But they kind of did. It was kind of put into the box, so it didn't really benefit us bringing Senesi on. No. And we were saying at the time, I do think there's definite context in we didn't get out as much because we had 10 men, but we were saying a lot after that Man U game in stoppage time. It kept coming back, and I do wonder. Because listen, you could have just taken Ever off and just put Celestia on and just sorted it out. But he put Jebo on just because at least when we get... I don't even think you need to do anything. It's more that they think there's another player. So, yeah, I think that's a prime example of, we've just conceded a late goal. Don't do what we did last time.
Yeah.
I didn't even... Not only Celestia, I thought, could he put Cook back into midfield and bring on Smith?
Oh, yeah.
Just for his experience. I was more thinking because Smith will fall over and win us a few fouls. You know what I mean? But by the way, the moment of the game...
Go on.
96 minutes. Kepa took about 5 minutes to take that goal kick.
He did.
Funnily enough,
how did you not get booked?
Funnily enough, was like on the step bit, crying. And I started recording, said to my Arsenal mate for the final whistle to go. And I recorded for over a minute from that goal because I'm going, why is Kepa? If you take it, it ends Kepa. I love that guy. But yeah, it was absolute scenes, mate. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
Absolutely superb. People on YouTube have just seen the heat maps appear on screen. And look, that was the 10th time that Arsenal have taken the lead this season. Not won a game. AFC Bournemouth out set-pieced Arsenal, and that's the double for the first time in our history. So some talking points. Evan Nilsson's work rate. I mean, I know he scored the goal, but my God, he works hard, doesn't he?
He's outrageous. His work rate is unbelievable, honestly. And like I say, there was a few chances he would have liked to have done better at, but he's getting himself in their positions. That's what I always like.
He's dropping into space a lot more, I've noticed as well. Sort of almost like Dom Solanke.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit more Dom. But I think the main thing, and this is nothing against Dom Solanke, because he could win a trophy. Yeah. He's scoring some important goals lately since he's been fully fit for Spurs, to be fair. And I still love Dom Solanke. I think he's very underrated. But I don't think, would I swap him back? No, sure. And we never would have said, when we lost Solanke, if I said to you, we're going to get someone in we don't really know, but we're going to say that he's better or just as good as Dom Solanke.
I don't really miss him, which is, I mean, I love him, but I don't miss him.
And you look at, and obviously Ever's into double figures. We love everything he does. He was missing for a long spell of the season. This is his first season. I think it's an outrageous season from him. I really do. Considering it's not just that you go, he missed these certain amount of games, and then he had to get himself back fit. Yeah, loads of different bits, mate. So yeah, I absolutely love him. And I was so pleased when he gets the winner as well. I think if you ever pick a player, I know everyone has their personal favourites. I'd love Smithy to score a volley or something, but I think deep down you always want your striker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep him ticking. So Jebo against Villa would be lovely.
So Arsenal have lost 4 games this season, 50% of them against Bournemouth, which is an absolutely unreal stat. I'm just thinking, Tom, is this a result that both teams weirdly needed? I mean, obviously we did, but do you think Arsenal, that's a good thing for them ahead of their match against PSG?
I think what Arteta done really well after the game, I thought he was really clever, that he come out and said, that game has left us with a lot of rage, anger, disappointment.
So we use that.
We use that on Wednesday. And I thought he's right. That's all he can do now. But I don't think it does much for them. I think what will annoy them is it makes them have to keep going in the league because they're not going to come out of the top 4, obviously. No. So it doesn't really matter. But it looks bad if you've been in the title race and don't come second. Tottenham did it when Leicester won it. Yeah. Second all year, they ended up dropping. So it doesn't look good. But
in hindsight, though, right? They've had a match which they've lost where they've played most of their stars. PSG also lost a match, but they didn't play.
They rested everyone pretty much.
I mean, I saw AFTV, a bit of AFTV, and also Football's 12th Man. So Dan Potts, he was raging.
Yeah, it was.
We were supposed to see him afterwards. He texted me saying, "Oh, sorry, I've gone." Like, asked for you.
Oh, yeah. We didn't go last time, did we? Come on, Pottsy.
No, but I tell you what, though, but I can. He thinks Arteta's a fraud, and he's had a couple of days to calm down, and he still, subscribes to those opinions that he thinks that he needs to get a result against PSG or he should go. And I can understand it in terms of like they've been
nearly
second for so long. Yeah. He's had a number of years now. Was it 5 at Arsenal? Arteta, hasn't won anything.
He has. First season he won something.
Okay,
but yeah, he wasn't in fully, and
it's
he won
something
the FA Cup.
That Arsenal fans would want. I haven't had a Premier League title in over 20 years. I haven't won the European trophy that they want to. What's your thoughts on Arsenal this season? Is there a name that you could think, because I think he wants like Simeone or someone like that, whether he would come to Arsenal, I don't know. But what is the future for Arsenal, do you think?
It's difficult, mate, because I do get it. I get what people are saying. They're always the nearly men. And I think what's happened is that City have dropped. So people are saying, well, that's got to be Arsenal then. I think Liverpool deserve credit as well. I never like giving them too much, but Liverpool do deserve credit. I think that's getting forgotten that Liverpool have been good. But yeah, I think everyone thought if City do drop, Arsenal will be there. They're still in the Champions League as we speak. So let's see what happens. But it's a really difficult one. I think it's so much harder when you're on the outside like we are. Because I remember, because we played him, what he took over, by the way. They had the wages of some of them players were on, like, no disrespect, Mustafi, Socrates, they had Rob Holding, they had, Bellerin, Xhaka, Torreira. I mean, these players, Iwobi was there, obviously he's done well since, but you know what I mean? I just remember thinking, he has got, I remember everyone just going, how is this Arsenal, Arteta going to be able to turn this into a team that can compete? I mean, they're coming 8th. They would literally, they would look the same as Man United do.
He's definitely improved their kind of trajectory, but do you think they've just plateaued a little bit but fans want them to carry on?
Of course fans will carry on, and maybe they're going, I'll tell you what it is similar to, not in the style or anything like that, maybe it's similar to the England thing. What Southgate done, in my opinion, was outrageous. England were an embarrassment at every tournament. Yeah. He picked us up, took us to another level. Couldn't quite get the line, though. And it's got to a point where you kind of go, I love Southgate personally, but you kind of go, okay, we want to try and get a finisher.
Patience has run out.
And maybe Arsenal fans have got to a similar thing where they go, Arteta's done amazing. We need someone to go bum. Yeah. And we're trying to do it, England, with Tuchel. Boom. Will a Simeone potentially, I think. I think Simeone, I don't know whether they can attract, they're a massive football club.
Huge.
But I don't know. Because it wasn't long ago that they were, I'm not going to say all Arsenal fans, but a lot of them were worried that he was going to go like Madrid or something. Yeah, it's a difficult one. But as I say, they've only got a few days, and we'll see if they get. If they turn it around at PSG, mate. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I don't think that's done. By the way,
do you not?
No, I don't think that's done. I think we just saw what Rice could do in that role. By the way, Partey's back, and what I felt in the first leg was there was a lot of fear. Also at home, we can't get caught. We don't want to be out the tie.
Naturally, there would be.
This second leg, you've got to remember, PSG have never won it.
Yeah.
The pressure is all on PSG. And Arsenal can go there and just go, no one expects anything from us.
Well, they could do what Liverpool did there.
Yeah, that will suit them. And I genuinely think if Arsenal, you'd literally say it, Arsenal nick an early goal, it's level. I don't think that's over. I really don't think that's over. But we'll see on that. But I do think, again, obviously we're going to say it, and I appreciate that, of course, all football fans are going to talk about their club. We deserve a lot of credit again because a team, other teams wouldn't have been able to. I think you can hold Arsenal, you can get a bit of luck, but to be able to do that on set pieces where they're one of the best in the league. Yeah. We definitely deserve credit. And I was going to say to you, because we always say it on this channel, what do we always say about us? We don't want the ball.
Yeah.
First half, at half time, it was 50-50 possession. Yeah. It won a lot, by the way, but 52 second half to them. As soon as we don't have as much of the ball, is when we hurt teams, all right? Villa, you can have it. Do what you want with it. Hopefully give it to Mings. Do what you want with it, and we'll hurt you. All right?
Tom, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure. There is more to come from this channel during the week, so there's a couple of things you could do to help us out if you're watching on YouTube, that is.
Yes, click the like, click the bell, and then click the subscribe button. That's the most important one. And go back and watch Fancast as well, because I'm absolutely carnage, by the way. You've got to go back and watch that. I wanted to watch it because I was like, I don't know what's going on. I thought, what have I done here? Did I just do Fancams?
That's so good.
Literally, my 2 weirdest Fancams are both at the Emirates. You handed me that mic and me thinking, I don't want to for 2 different reasons.
I thought the chants were good, but the Champions League one, why were we singing that?
No.
Champions League quiz for me.
Well, we're changing it to the Conference League because Roma looked like a conference.
What? So we said Bayern Munich, Lazio. We need to check.
Roma.
Details.
Bratislava. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we'll figure it out, mate. We'll be there. Don't worry about it. Who's quickly, if you had to say it, who's your man of the match then? Who would you go with? Because I think there's a lot of contenders. I think I appreciate the cameos of Scott and Semenyo, but I thought Howson. The big goal. What did he do wrong all game again?
Yeah.
But I feel there's a lot of contenders, actually.
What
I will say quickly.
I'll go with you on that, actually.
Yeah. All right, I think we should just end it by saying that we've been to the Emirates before. we've suffered late heartbreak. The only difference this time was around Jebbo ran that clock down for us.
Jebbo again.
See you the next one.
Do you reckon he'll be my mate, Jebbo? Because I dig him up, this guy.
You should have a chat with him.
Yeah, I'll text him now.